All right, we are recording and we are live, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay. And I don't see it. Okay, so I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Roll call. Josue.
Present.
Mary.
Here.
Larry. So I'll go ahead and call this meeting to order. Roll call. Josue.
Present.
Mary.
Here.
Larry. Larry.
Did Larry or Mary?
Larry.
Larry, I'm sorry. Larry's here.
Okay. Jeannie.
Here.
Annette.
Present. Here. Sorry, I had my mic off.
That's okay. Shatara.
Here.
And Tatiana.
Present.
Okay, so we have a quorum and we can proceed with our meeting. First of all, I would like to thank everybody for being on live with us. And also, I would just like to say that we're all safe and we're here and we're ready to go. So thank you so much. With that, we'll start with the agenda. And we need a motion to approve the agenda for the Waukegan Public Library Board of Trustees, May 20th, 2020 meeting.
I'll motion to approve the agenda for Waukegan Public Library Board of Trustees, May 20th, 2020 meeting.
And do we have a second?
I second that.
And if you just say your name, Annette.
Annette Darden?
Okay. Okay, roll call then. Josue.
Aye.
Mary. Mary.
Mary or Larry? I can't quite hear.
Mary with an M.
Mary, okay. Okay.
Mary still on?
I think she's muted.
Larry, we'll go on and come back to her. Larry.
Aye, yes.
Jeannie.
Yes.
Annette.
Yes.
Rochelle.
Yes.
Tara.
Yes.
Tatiana.
Yes.
And Mary. Is Mary on still? Mary.
Hi,
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay, perfect. Okay. Okay, so then the agenda is set as it is printed. And what I have done was I went through and kind of put some tentative times to all of the different items on the agenda. So when the item comes up, I'll give you an idea of about how much time we should spend or we have to spend. So with that, let's move on to a motion to approve the minutes for the Waukegan Public Library, February 19th, 2020. And also remember that everything that we're doing over the internet, we will come back together and ratify later when we do come back and have a meeting.
I'll motion to approve the minutes of the Waukegan Public Library, February 19, 2020 meeting.
Yeah.
Could I have some comment before that?
Okay. Well, what we do, Larry, is we put it on the floor and then we open it up for discussion.
Okay.
So is there a motion to approve, anyone?
I just motioned to approve the minutes of the Waukegan Public Library
Jeannie,
February
I second it.
19 meeting.
Okay, and Jeannie seconded. And now, Larry, you have something you'd like to say?
Thank you. Yes, in terms of the part in the minutes of February 19th of 2020, there is a statement there from me. However, it is not totally accurate. The statement that is in the minutes is not, there are words and so forth in there that I did not say. And there are it's just not quite right. And to me, it's very important to get it all correct. So I have right here in my hand the, the actual, I mean, I can submit the statement or submit it. But I'm not happy. It's not correct from what I fully said.
May
Okay.
I also speak when appropriate?
Oh,
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, so Larry, and I'm assuming that Tatiana is the same thing for you. There's some things that are written that you didn't say.
My first and foremost concern is that the way the minutes are written, unless I'm misreading Robert's rules, they are not aligned with Robert's rules. The writing of the minutes, they're presented right now. So my main concern is that we make modifications so that it is written according to Robert's rules. And secondly, I would say the same with Larry. I read a typed and written statement, and what is in the minutes is not the same as what I presented, wrote, and read. Wrote, read, presented.
So do you want to submit your statements again?
We certainly can. I just have concerns with Robert's Rules of Orders.
What is
Robert's
it?
Rule of Order. You'll have to excuse me and grab the exact section so I'm not misquoting it. But I was under the impression by what it said that it's supposed to be a summary as opposed to actual word for word of what everyone said.
Okay, and then
I believe it's section 10.6. If you'll excuse me, I'll go get it.
okay.
I'm happy to just speak up.
And one of the things that I saw, I'm sorry. One of the things that I saw was that there has to be sufficient data that either the public body or the court examining its minutes will be able to assert what in fact was discussed, the substance of the discussion, and what, if any, action was taken. Am I, Douglas?
I was more or less going to say exactly what you just said, which is that although Tatiana is technically correct, Robert's rules do allow you to summarize them. Articulate or more of a verbatim transcript of the minutes, especially where there's a piece of business like this, which is likely to go to litigation.
So could I make a motion to amend the minutes of the Waukegan Public Library February 19, 2020 meeting to include the written statements from Larry McShane and Tatiana Amarella?
Can we get a second for that?
I would rather see those eliminated from the minutes.
I would second that motion. If it's a motion, it's not, but I have concerns with that. And then my second part of my statement is that I have concerns about the minutes in the closed session. I was going to seek council's clarification upon that. If we approve these minutes, are we also approving the minutes from closed session?
No, closed session minutes are approved once every approximately 6 months. We'll come back and we'll have an executive session. We'll review the minutes.
Okay, they are in our board packet, which is what my concern was.
The original packet, yes, but they were taken out.
Okay, let's go back to Josue's recommendation or his motion.
I could repeat it. My motion is to approve the minutes of the Waukegan Public Library February 19, 2020 meeting with the amendment of including Larry McShane's and Tatiana Morella's written statements that were read.
I second it. This is Jean.
Okay, and second by, amended. And second. Jean. Okay. Any more discussion?
Well, so then, based on this, then it would be possible for, speaking for myself now, it would be possible for me to submit in writing what I said that I have in writing to be added into these minutes. Is that what would that motion allow this? I'm not
Yes.
sure it would.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion?
I'm not comfortable submitting it. If I don't want it submitted, how does that work?
We have a motion on the floor,
Sorry.
Tatiana. Okay, so all in favor? Jose,
Aye.
Mary,
No,
Harry,
No.
Jeannie,
Yes.
Annette,
You're muted.
Annette,
Sorry about that. No. Did you hear me?
yes, Rochelle,
No.
Jatara,
No.
and Tatiana.
No.
Okay, so then what we will do is we will remove those statements verbatim from the minutes. I mean, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. The amended motion from Josue, we are not going to add the statements. So now we have to go back and we have to make a motion to approve the minutes with those corrections.
Sorry. For raising my hand.
Okay, go ahead, Josue. The guy.
So the motion to approve the minutes failed. So what's the other option?
So we have to approve the minutes, and we could possibly just summarize what was said.
Isn't that what's already on the minutes?
No.
No, because Larry's was summarized somewhat, but Tatiana's, yours was put in full, right?
It was summarized. Parts were paraphrased.
Okay.
So they
And
are.
that was the same with me too. From
So
paraphrase.
they were both summarized or paraphrased.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
I have point of order.
Go ahead, Josue.
So I just motioned to approve the minutes with the verbatim, so word for word of the
Right.
of the comments that Larry and Tatiana said, and that was voted down. So what do the trustees want if it's already a summary then?
My problem is that it's not, may I speak? Am I in
Go
turn?
ahead.
My take issue that I wish it was just a summary as opposed to paraphrasing what I tried to say.
Okay.
A summary, yeah.
So at this point, do we just
Make a
I'm
motion.
gonna rewrite it?
I don't think it should be included at all. I think it's pretty, it's just everybody, it seems to be a general consensus from whoever pulled them out to align everybody up to the commentary. Doesn't seem quite fair, I guess.
Can we go back and can we get a
If I may?
motion to either approve the minutes or not approve the minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes of the Waukegan Public Library February 19, 2020 meeting as presented.
Can we get a second?
This is Janie again. I second this.
Okay. Okay, so we have a motion on the floor,
And we need to vote on that.
and thank you, ma'am. And we're going to vote on the motion on the floor. Josue,
Aye.
Mary,
No,
Larry,
No.
Jeannie,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Rochelle,
No.
Jatara,
No.
and Tatiana.
No.
And I'm saying yes. So that's 4 and 5 no's. Okay.
All right. So
Did I have to vote? Okay. Okay, so then at that point, that means that the minutes need to go back and we need to get them corrected, and then we can resubmit them at the next meeting. So that would be for February. Let's move on.
May I ask just, Madam Chairman?
Okay. And we're going to also put in place you can speak on a subject twice. So think about that as we move forward. So go ahead, Larry.
So then there were others who had public comments, and I don't know if theirs were paraphrased or what, either from the public. So how does that get handled
So
in our minutes?
These minutes are going to go back to be revised and presented again. Okay?
Well, if I may just follow up real quick.
Go
So
ahead.
then would the public comments from the public also be removed?
Well, they won't be removed. They will just be summarized a little differently.
This is Jeannie. Can I ask a question?
Yeah.
If we sat in this meeting and we said these things, why do we have a problem with people hearing what we said? We shouldn't be saying things if we don't think people should hear them.
My issue, if I may respond, is that I was paraphrased. So what I actually said is not correct.
And I understand what you're saying, but if they gave you the option to put in exactly what you said, why is there a problem with that?
I agree.
I just don't understand. I just need an understanding of that.
Okay, we're going to take one more minute. Anybody else?
I would like to make a comment. I understand about if you said something, of course, own up to it. But I can't always go back and confirm exactly what somebody said, such as Sandy or anybody else. And for me to approve what those words are, I can't honestly do it because I don't know if they're word for word correct. And according to Robert's Rules, Article 1060, it says that the record of the proceeding should state what was done and not what was said. And I think that would just make it a lot easier to follow Robert's Rules.
That's what it comes down to more for me, Jean, is that it's just, I think it should just be what was done and avoid all of these 50, or all these extra pages of paraphrased dialogue. So it comes down to me wanting summaries as opposed to paraphrased for everyone. So if I feel that way, I would have the option as a trustee to possibly submit what I actually said, but the public doesn't have that.
And this is my number 2. Okay, so when these minutes come back, you don't have to like the paraphrase. I mean, the summary.
The summary should be objective.
May I just?
I would agree. I would agree.
The other thing is,
Okay. Mary?
I was just going to say that every paragraph, whatever the paragraph is, whatever anybody said, it's all headed with the person that said it, and these people aren't here. I think that's the point. The people aren't here to say, this is what I said, or this is what I didn't say.
Correct.
Okay, well,
And there's a lot.
Josue?
Okay, I understand the points that several trustees are making. I would like to recommend that those trustees reach out before the meeting to make those corrections. We shouldn't be debating on the minutes at the meeting when we could have brought up some points before the meeting. We got this board packet for the meeting.
If I may, I did reach out to John and Sylvia.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to call for the question.
Thank
And
you, everybody. That's enough. We're going to cut those conversations off at this point, because at this point, all we need to do is resubmit those minutes and start from scratch at the next meeting. So with that, we're going to move on to the finance report, committee report. So, Larry?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, Madam President. Yes, so I did meet with Anna, and prior to this meeting tonight, and we went over the 3 months of finances for the library. I had several questions, primarily regarding each month there was a mention under, so I recall it was under card member services. And there was the initials SGB with a number of various expenditures, quite a numerous amount for February, a lesser amount for March, and a much lesser amount for April. And some of them were in the $1,000 range, some were $500 range, some were lesser amounts. And it was explained to me by Anna that this is a credit card that certain routine expenses get put on for the library to function. It was under the former director's name. However, as I understand it, to try to go and change the credit card number and to revise all that would be a hardship. And going forward, Anna said that she recognizes the confusion that may cause, and will, I presume, approach it or handle it some different way in terms of the name on the initials on the card member on the credit card. So that answered the questions I had. Other than that, everything else looked, and I understood it and it seemed appropriate. And it seemed like nothing inappropriate, as I was explained to. So given that, everything else appeared to be routine. There is a proposed budget at the end of the finances for the coming fiscal year. And as I understand, we have received $200,000 additional from the city in our grant. And that is why many of the categories have gone up slightly in terms of the funding for the library for the coming year. And again, this is an estimate, a proposal. As times change, or items can be adjusted, readjusted, sort of thing. And as I understand, this was prior to the the pandemic versus. So that is something to keep in mind too. We may have to spend more for cleaning services, for technologies. Some of those areas may have to have some additional funding, but then we could pull out from other areas to put into those areas. It's just a work in progress. It's just an estimate at this point, a proposal. So it seemed reasonable to me. So that's all I really have to report. It all, generally speaking, appeared appropriate and, well done.
Mary, can I entertain a motion for you?
May I ask a question, please?
Hold on 1 minute. Mary, could we get a motion from you to accept the disbursements?
Correct. And okay, yes, I would propose then make a motion here to approve the February 2020 disbursements, the March 2020 disbursements, and the April 2020 disbursements of the Waukegan Public Library.
So that's February, March, and April.
Are we
February, March, and April, yes.
February, March, and April. Can we get a second?
Could we vote on those separately?
We could, but you went through and you sat down with Anna and you've done all of them, so.
Well, I did. Yeah, I did. And whatever, if you want me to make.
If we could get someone to second that second that motion and go into discussion.
I would like to second that motion.
Thank you, Annette. And discussion. And you can speak on this. You can speak on this subject twice.
I just have a quick question about payroll. I would like to know how we budgeted or paying what has been the decision that has been made about paying employees salaries that are not working?
Mary, that's a great question, and I think John is going to address that when he gives his state of the library address. Is that correct,
I would be
John?
happy.
I have a
Is that
question.
correct, John? I'm sorry, Tatiana. Excuse me,
Oh,
everybody.
sorry.
John, is that correct?
Yes, Madam President, that's correct.
Okay.
Can I just finish?
Tati.
Yeah. The rest
yeah,
of
Mary.
that is that the rest of my statement is we've
Okay.
all seen increases in salary for March and April. So from February, one was 240,000 increase, and the next one was 255,000 increase in salary. I don't understand why. That's it.
Anna, can you address that?
Hi, this is Anna. The salary expense, don't forget, February is the 29 days, and I don't know why it has a sudden increase. We have part-time people that work at various hours. I mean, we can ask payroll to look at it in detail, but that information is at the payroll. I don't have that in front of me.
Okay, it's just a question because from February to March, it increased. March to April, it increased $255,000. And I don't, if we're not operating,
No,
why are we getting salaries, payroll?
Well, that's our normal payroll.
Okay, but why is it increasing? Why is it
We're
taking
in
a
the process.
$250,000 bump from February to March and a $255,000 bump from March to April?
I don't see the bump.
So
okay.
in February, it was 2,445,000. Is that correct? Is that what you're saying, Mary?
Yes, and then when you go to March, it's 2,685,000. If you go to April, it goes from, hello?
Okay, is somebody counting?
Everybody should be muted.
Anyway, so it goes up bumps up another $255,000 when it goes from March to April. So that's my question.
So it looks like
our payroll
That is our
average.
regular payroll. Those are not increases. That's the monthly incursion of our expenses for payroll.
March 31st. I think I have a duplicate here.
So actual payroll jumped $240,000 between February and March.
We have 2 payroll per month, and our payroll average over 90,000 plus benefits, and it's a little over 100,000 per payroll.
March, February.
Why did it increase? I'm still confused. You know, we can let this go. Let it go.
It could be the number of days.
Commented it that the money did not increase. The
John,
actual
if I can
amount.
also add, we had 5 new hires March the 2nd.
Oh, okay.
So just to clarify, we had new hires.
So
Did you hear that? Mary, you heard that?
We bet, okay, we had,
New
Five.
hires.
5 new hires.
Correct.
Sylvia, can I speak?
what,
Hold on a minute. Let's finish Mary.
okay. New hires as of when?
March 2nd, she said?
Okay,
Correct?
I didn't hear that, I'm sorry.
March the 2nd.
So we have, okay, all right.
Thank you, Mary. Okay. So
May
Josue,
I?
could I speak?
Yeah,
So we
Josue,
have- okay, so we have a motion on the floor and we're in discussion. Mary just finished. Josue,
So I just wanted to clarify because all that might have been confusing for trustees and the public that there was no increase in salaries, but there was an increase in staff. That means we have to spend more on salaries.
thanks
Correct.
for the clarification.
thank you. Tatiana, you have something?
I just wanted to quickly go back. I was confused about what Larry was talking about with the credit card with the former director's name on it and not being able to change a number. I just wanted clarification on that.
Anna, could you speak to that, please?
Yes. I referenced one of the credit card with Selena's initial, and I will change it going forward. I understand that could be confusing. Obviously, Selena is not using her credit card. She doesn't have a credit card anymore. But we do have charges that is going to that card, like regular charges, recurring charges.
Sure.
But that's what Larry was referencing to.
Okay, thanks for clarifying.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, Josue,
Aye.
sorry. Mary,
Abstain.
Larry, Larry, we'll come back to Larry. Jeannie,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
Tara, sorry,
Yes.
Annette,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Michelle, I'm looking at the right, Michelle, and Tatiana.
Yes.
Larry, are you in yet?
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. Something happened with the mic. I don't know what. Anyway, yes, aye.
Okay, and I'm saying I also. Okay, so the disbursements for February, March, and April have been approved. And when we come back together in a meeting, we will ratify those also. So moving on to number 5, interim executive director's report. Larry? John?
Hello. Thank you, everyone, again, to all the trustees who took the time and are taking the time now to get this process underway and continue doing the library business. Per the acting executive director's report, I wanted to extend a thanks for the privilege of representing the Waukegan Public Library at the PLA conference in Nashville, Tennessee, February 23rd through the 29th. It was a great learning experience, great opportunity. Ran into a lot of Lake County librarians, including Heidi Smith and Ryan Livingood, and so really great people to run into, and lots of amazing sessions and learning opportunities, and lots of really neat things that I can see parallels, which we do here at the Waukegan Public Library. In terms of our library closure, our leadership team has been meeting weekly to discuss library business and our reopening plan. And so basically, we are trying to maximize the number of people who can do work from home, because what we're really currently looking at is something along the lines of an ABC. Coming back into the building, A would be to adapt our current practices and the things that we can offer now virtually, and try and increase as we better our process and increase and include more things to do while we're currently closed. And last but certainly not least is to continue doing what we're doing and start to roll out new services and opportunities as the pandemic proceeds. As Mary mentioned, we've been closed. We have continued to pay our staff, as furloughing staff has a tendency to be very expensive. It can be very difficult to bring people back, and or if they decide to stay away when it's time to come back, then we would have a hard time and have to be hiring. We would be in a position to have our own pandemic on our hands and our staff, in terms of not having enough staff to run the library when we are able to provide more. So right now the goal is for our staff to maximize what they can do. My hope is that in June at some point we can provide some form of service to the public. What that looks like first would require us to receive materials, secondarily then to start doing some form of a touchless curbside service, and we're in the planning stages of doing that now, and additionally maximizing what people can do from home, and there are certain folks on our staff who cannot work if the library building is not open, so finding things in addition to training and opportunities to expand what we do. We have a very talented team of people. And again, I'm incredibly proud of the leadership team. I'm grateful for the work that they've put in. A lot of people doing a lot of things to pivot. Our positions, we have 2 current positions open, marketing and IT. We have now the assistant managers, or the people who were working in the department, acting as current interim managers of marketing and IT. So that's Karina and Isaac, and I offer my congratulations. We still have a few positions that were open that were not filled, but we were almost fully staffed before this jumped off. Deb has received hundreds and hundreds of of applicants, not many of which were qualified for the positions to which they apply. But our optimistic start date for some of the new people would be September 1st. And again, the library was nearly fully staffed when we shut. As far as the census efforts, the library is still involved in census efforts, and we are attending meetings. The grants which we received to provide information to the community and training opportunities for our staff are expended by the month of June. So we have until the 30th of June to expend those funds. But Elizabeth, our census engagement specialist, who's been with us since 2019, fall, I believe she came on board, and then Shirley, our new census engagement specialist, who started on March 2nd and then jumped right into this. They've done an outstanding job of engaging the community despite having the difficulties that we do with social distancing. We've been printing bags and sending them to the food pantries. We've been sending notices in the taxi tickets that the township sends out. So they've done some really amazing things. In addition to, look at the back of your grocery receipts here soon, because there will be a census message on the back of grocery receipts. We're pivoting and we're providing the information to the community in the best way we possibly can. And in general, over this past 8 weeks, I've worked very closely with our leadership team, and I want to just thank the leadership team publicly for the work that they've done. I want to thank all of our staff for their patience. My goal is to get as many people back to working as possible. I recently started attending meetings at the city, so I can keep my finger on the pulse as to what some of our community partners are doing, and one of our biggest partners is the city, and they'll be a very big help in bringing us back to some service. Otherwise, this is my first acting executive director report, and I'm, as always, here for you. I'm happy to answer any questions you might have between now and the next time we meet. And I just want to remind you that we do continue to provide the service to a community that's always learning and discovering. And as well, we're pivoting to provide that path to empower and support learning and discovery in Waukegan and beyond. Library is not just about the building. I want to make that public and known. It's about the people. And so thank you for the opportunity to report.
Okay. Could you talk just a little bit about the expansion of our technology?
Absolutely. So as was mentioned and will be a part of the budget discussion, we currently are trying to maximize what we can do from home. And that may mean that someone that works at the library doesn't have internet or a computer at home, may need the library's assistance in providing them with the equipment to do the work. The only thing that's stopping them is a Chromebook that we have sitting in a closet at the library. I don't see any reason why they can't make use of that. But also, I would like your open minds in concept of boosting our technology budget so that we can provide people with the technology to do things like virtual programming. Everyone needs a webcam to do virtual programming. there are certain things that we're going to have to pivot and provide, including maybe bringing back the sorter. I know that that was an expense before that was hard to swallow, but at this point, I think that having something that helps us handle the materials and puts them into bins for us would be advantageous. So we may be coming to you in the coming months to try and bring some of those things, including more self-checks, for example. And again, the sorter is a big one. I think we can really benefit from having this piece of equipment now, but not currently where it is. I would propose that we put it in the bookmobile room that currently is empty. But those are just some amazing things that our staff has been doing. And like I said, technology is one way that we can use what we have and give people the ability to work more from home and work at home. There is a difference between working from home and working at home.
Okay, well, I will hold that. I want to just say thank you, John, for all the awesome work. And I know you're working more than 24 hours because I hear from you quite a bit. So thank you so much for all of the work that you're doing. Yes, Miss Evelyn.
I had a question. On the financial report, John, there was literacy. What are they doing now that they're not physically coming to the building?
Gail and the education literacy team are pivoting. We recently got them a paid Zoom account so that they can provide, because with the software that we were using, it was hard to share like we are currently meeting on Google Meet. That's one venue. Another opportunity to, again, expand out. They've taken this and really run with it, and they're setting up individual appointments with the tutors and tutees to start doing this learning virtually. And they're offering digital technology classes online, and that's all pivoting to being in an online realm.
And I just wanted to say one other thing. Yes, you're doing a wonderful job. Thank you. And
thank you.
Did you think about sending some things to the school so they can put in the food boxes that the kids get twice a week?
Absolutely, and that's another thing. Our children's department has looked into divesting ourselves of some of the stuff we have in storage and sharing with the school, so that putting together some preschooler packets that we can send home with the lunches. Yes, I think that's definitely one of the, I hope that they continue it into the summer. I hope that the school, I know we're going to try and still do our summer lunch program, even if we're not open as a building. We can set the box out and have people come and take a lunch away. I haven't heard from Patrick in our children's department yet on how they plan on doing that, but it'll be exciting to we're still going to continue to provide service. And another neat thing that the Education Literacy Services Department has done is Gail has reached out into this group from the community action partners, the Alliance for Human Services, and there are a lot of groups of people coming together to provide food security for people in Waukegan. It's called Catch. If you hadn't heard of it, it's pretty neat. And our team involved. So again, they're doing great work.
Josue?
Yeah, John, I would like to thank you for your leadership and stepping up in the last or so, 2 months now, right? You've done a great job, and I've heard nothing but great things about what you're doing at the library. I also want to thank you for the update on the census efforts. There's not a day that I get on Facebook and see a sponsored ad about the census. And also, you guys are incorporating social distancing recommendations with that. So that's also great. Thank you for the update.
Okay.
We have a talented team. Thank you, Josue.
Thank you, John. Okay, moving right on to the president's report. I just want to say that I got on Rails last week. They did a training, and it was quite informative. They talked about, furlough versus laying off staff. And John, I think you addressed that, so that was really good. They also talked about there's an agency that's out there testing different parts of the library to see how that's all going to come back together, especially things like how long can the virus stay on books. So they're testing that, and as soon as they get that information, they're going to share it with everybody. Also, the governor's Restore Illinois plan. John, you did talk about some of the plans for reopening the library. So the governor has outlined how, he wants the umbrella to look like. But then I think that for Waukegan Public Library, we need a plan of how the reopening is going to take place, specifically with book collection and also sending books out into the community. So those types of things. I mean, also, before all of this happened, you know, you talked about what you could do with the library as far as the friends. So maybe some of those types of things. I mean, if they're under budget, they're under budget. But if it's something that you're going to be changing with the library, if you just bring it up, you know, we just need to hear all the great, wonderful things that's going on. Let's see. The other thing is the status of the executive director search. And I have from Deb the process that we used in the past. And what I'd like to do versus reading it to you is to send it all out to you so that we can start looking at how we're going to hire our next executive director. Is that okay with everybody? You can just send something on the chat for me. Okay, so other than that, it's been a long 8 weeks, and I'm glad that we're back together, you know, talking about what's happening at the library and how we're being positive influence for our community. So with that, let's move on down to new business.
What is up with that noise?
Sylvia, I think you're muted.
This is a point of clarification. I may arbitrarily mute you if the background noise in your recording in the video is interrupting the speaker.
I'd like to motion to adopt the Waukegan Public Library fiscal year 2020-2021 budget.
I second that. I second that.
Okay, so it's been motioned and properly second. Any discussion? And we'll do a roll call if there's no discussion. Okay. Josue,
Aye.
Mary,
I would like to just understand, you said we could go back and review this, am I correct?
yes, we can.
Okay,
It's a budget.
all right.
I mean, we can always go back and amend the budget. Not a problem.
Thank you. Aye, then.
Barry,
Aye.
Jeannie,
Yes.
Annette,
Aye.
Rochelle,
Yes.
Chatara,
Yes.
and Tatiana,
No.
and mine is yes. So the budget has been approved. It's been voted on and properly, I'm sorry, it has been voted on and approved. So this is our budget for the 2021 year. Okay, so moving on to the the motion. I need a motion to make public a portion of the February 19, 2020 executive session. And let me explain that just a little bit. Or better yet, Douglas, would you mind explaining that?
Before we get there, just as a point of order, I think we skipped item. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm ahead of my agenda. So this is the memo that I originally had sent to you back in February. There was a complaint filed, I believe I've communicated with each of you about, with the Attorney General's office, alleging that certain sections of the meeting were not protected by the closed session rules. I would recommend, I've recommended to you, several minutes of that should be made public. I believe the timestamps on that are 23:45 through the end of that closed session. I'm happy to discuss or take any questions you have regarding any of that, but
With the recommendation of legal counsel, I'd like to motion to make public a portion of February 19, 2020 executive session.
Is there a second?
I can second. It's Shatara.
Okay. Any more discussion?
Yes, please. I wanted to have a discussion in terms of making the whole piece public as opposed to a piece of it.
Who's speaking?
Tatiana.
Okay.
I guess I have concerns with things being taken out of context. And I think really this issue started even before I was a trustee. So I feel that the trustees need to view all tapes and then release all or none. Which I'm fine with releasing all, but I think it needs to be a group decision.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other discussion?
Good points. I can alter my.
I,
First, I would like to
Wait a minute. Stop, please. Is there any more discussion?
yes, I would like to know, given the guidelines on executive session, closed session, we have an allowance of no less than 6 months to review any executive session before anything is published. And we can go back for several months now, or actually a year, and we have other meetings that we have not, the board has not been able to view and approve for publication for having minutes written on them. I would suggest that we go back before we start doing something that happened 2 months ago, go back and review and approve all the ones that are historical, that are still sitting there, that have not been viewed and approved. And I do believe that the entire board ought to be a part of that process.
Okay. Any other discussion? Okay, well then let's go ahead and vote on this motion that's on the floor. Josue?
Aye.
Mary?
No,
Larry?
Muted. Larry, you're muted.
Okay, we'll come back to Larry. Jeannie? Jeannie?
Yes.
Larry, are you in?
I am.
Your vote?
I vote yes.
Annette?
Yes.
Michelle?
Just to clarify, we are voting on just making public a section of it rather than the whole?
Correct.
No.
Shatara?
Yes.
Tatiana?
so may I just, before we close this off, may I just
Hold on,
ask?
wait a minute, Mary. Hold on a minute. Hold on a minute, Mary.
I am sorry.
So Tatiana, you said yes?
I said no.
No. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses and 3 no. So we are going to release the last, I want to say 6 minutes of the closed session to the Attorney General. I'm sorry, not to the Attorney General, but we're going to release it into our archives like we do all of the other open meeting minutes and videos.
So we aren't going to review the video as a whole, is what you're saying?
We can.
We all have
But
the
what I'm
option.
saying is we're going to just release those last 6 minutes.
Sylvia, I think you have to clarify that we all had the option to do that, and I went into the library to watch the portion.
I'm sorry?
Well, Douglas?
So.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a question for Douglas real quick.
Are we in discussion right now? Because I don't think we're in discussion.
Excuse me, Douglas? Okay, so Douglas? Is Douglas still on?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so the rationale was that if we open that part up, then it's out there.
That's correct.
Okay. Okay.
Are we going to get a written, the minutes are going to be written, and we're going to be able to see them. And otherwise, other than that, so I'm hearing people are reviewing these on their own.
Okay.
Or it isn't being.
Okay, so with the complaint that went to the Attorney General's office, instead of us saying, we'll wait and let them determine what they want, we're going back and saying, this is the part of our meeting that was not, it was not, it wasn't put down that we were going to be talking about this subject. So that piece we're releasing in hopes that we won't have to release the entire closed session.
So may I?
Please.
Without context is my concern. Without having been able to view that ending part and know exactly what minute to what is being released, I take issues with things being taken out of context.
Okay.
As they related is what happened at the end of that meeting, in my opinion, relates back to how that meeting started and what was discussed for the first several minutes of that meeting.
Okay. All right. Okay. Really noted. And what we'll do is that is open. Any trustee can go into the library. I mean, of course, now it's, you know, it's
we can't, yeah.
Right. But
so
we'll figure out, let us figure out how you can view it. You know, nobody is able to go in.
I just feel like we should be able to view it before the public does, since especially given the COVID situation, we lost our opportunity to be able to go in and view it. Is this something that could be sent to us, Douglas? Just the trustees released to us via email or anything?
I mean, there's no reason that if we're making it public that it couldn't be sent to the trustees prior to it being posted.
That I would appreciate something like that.
Or like I've done with several of you, you know, you've set up times to come into the library and sit with John and I and watch the video.
But that's not allowed now, correct?
Well,
no, we've done that since the library was closed.
Okay.
Okay, so as I said before, what we'll do is we'll figure out how to make that available so that you can view it. And we'll try to get that done within the next week. Okay?
Thank you, Sylvia.
Sylvia?
Welcome. Yes.
Just to clarify, we already voted to make it public, so
Absolutely.
it's already public.
Yeah, that's done. I already know. Yeah.
We're just asking to be able to review them before they go public because we haven't seen anything.
Okay.
They're already public.
All right. Thanks. Thank you all. We're going to move on. Okay, so the next part is a motion to appoint an acting director, Gaskill. Motion to appoint acting director Gaskill, Freedom of Information Act FOIA officer. The motion, and he's been doing it up until now, but we do need to put his name on it.
A motion to appoint acting executive director John Gaskill as Freedom of Information Act FOIA officer.
I'll second that.
And who was that?
Tatiana.
Okay. Any discussion? Okay. Josue.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Jeannie. Jeannie? Annette?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yep. Oh.
Okay. Annette,
Yes.
Rochelle,
Yes.
Chitara,
Yes.
Tatiana,
Yes.
and I'm yes. Okay, so motion carried, and John will be our four-year officer. Okay, next, motion to grant authorization to acting executive director to secure an HR consultant. John, would you mind talking a little bit about that? Or is that, should we get,
What?
John, would you talk about that a little bit?
This had to do with the investigation that was conducted by the library and by the city. This is a possible third investigation by an outside party.
So we've had the library and we've had the city to do an investigation. Now we're going to an outside firm. So
Right.
there's three proposals on the table. And Deb, could you talk about that a little bit?
I thought we were.
I sure can. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
The reason that we're recommending an independent HR consultant to do an investigation is because there were 4 additional complaints submitted against the employee. To ensure that we had some objectivity, it would be more appropriate, we thought, instead of having our library HR manager do it or the city HR do it, to have an independent source come out and sort out all of the information so that they could make an independent recommendation to us.
On the basis of
Douglas, did I phrase that correctly?
Sounds about right to me.
Me too. Okay, so with that, we have 3 proposals. Deb, could you maybe tell us a little bit about, or Douglas, I'm not sure who would be the best person to talk a little bit about the different proposals.
why are we going outside?
Sylvia, this is Deb.
Yeah.
I don't have each one of the proposals in front of me at this time. Douglas has all of them that he and I discussed. It probably would be more appropriate for him and John, who have seen them recently. I don't have them with me.
John or Douglas, could either of you give us more information?
Yeah, I'm happy to talk to you about the 3 different proposals.
Okay.
We reached out to a number of HR consultants that the library has used in the past, as well as some other ones that were recommended to us by neighboring communities and their HR staffs as consultants that they've used in the past for investigations. I'm trying to find all 3 of them because I just closed that email accidentally. You'll note that there are, of the 5 or so firms that we inquired of, we were only able to get 3 proposals. One was from HR Source, which does some work currently for the library. One I'm having to jump back through this. One was from the Keller Group, who have some fairly substantial experience in the field and came to us as a highly recommended firm in doing both the investigations and in making legal recommendations.
I don't know what
as
all
to
that noise is,
course.
but I can't hear you. I'm sorry. Mr. Renfro, I couldn't hear anything you were saying. There was a lot of background noise.
So the first one was from HR Source. That one was for an investigation only. They gave us an option for a recommendation on top of that would come from their legal department. They estimated that would be an additional $1,100 on top of their original $5,500 estimate. You got a proposal from the Carol Keller Group, which was right about $5,000 to do both, I'm sorry, about $4,000 to do both the recommendations and the investigation. And then you got a third a third proposal from the Employment Practice Solutions. They were the most expensive of the three proposals. I guess I'm happy to answer any questions you might have about the proposals themselves.
I do. I would like, what is the subject of the investigation? What are they going to do?
I'm hesitant to answer that question on the in an open session. If you would like me to continue to answer, I will. But I would note that this is in relation to some of the employee complaints in both directions surrounding the previous investigations.
Okay.
I have a question.
I do. Well, you know, Mr. Durando, I would like some more information from you, but we don't have to talk about it now. I'll reach out to you in an email. I just don't understand.
If it's helpful, I believe I did send you an update email several weeks ago about this particular subject and the fact that we would be bringing these proposals to you, if that helps answer any of those questions.
This
Okay.
is Deb.
Wait, do you have something?
Yes.
Go ahead.
In this motion, are we going to motion to allow the acting executive director to choose the consultant, or are we going to choose it as a board?
We're paying for it. The board has to vote on it.
Yeah, but we're not choosing the consultant, right?
I'm assuming that we're voting to grant the authorization to the acting executive director to secure an HR consultant.
Okay, so we don't have.
We can do this. We can have discussion about it, but we're going to give him the authorization. That's what we would like to vote on.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Yes. So with that, could we can I entertain a motion for the authorization?
A motion to grant authorization to the acting executive director to secure an HR consultant.
And a second?
I second it. This is James.
Okay, now any discussion?
This is Deb, Sylvia.
Okay.
Because of the sensitivity of this topic, I agree with Douglas that he should send it back out to the Board of Trustees so you're specifically aware of the subject matter rather than discussing it publicly.
Sounds good. Any other discussion on it? And I think that if anybody has any like questions or anything, I'm sure John, if you reach out to John, John would be glad to give you information about the consultant, about, you know, why we need a consultant or any of that. Okay?
I have a question.
Yes.
Well, and looking at these three proposals, it seemed to me that the one mentions, I'm just saying what they mention. The one mentions that they have expertise in the area of hostile work environment. The other two, I don't see that phrase used. And as I understand a number of the concerns, it is not just specified to one allegation against one employee. That is a part of it, but there are additional issues too about a hostile work environment. So yeah, I'm just puzzled by how the one mentions it, the others don't, the other two don't. And I would like to have some, I think the trustees should be the ones who make the choice with all due respect to John, I mean, he's doing an awesome job. He honestly is. But I think given that this is a broad issue for the library, meaning an expansive issue involving several different areas of concerns, I think that the trustees should be making the choice on which firm not to, or not to hire any of them and get other inputs. But I think we should be the ones to make the choice, and only us make the choice.
Okay. Any other discussion?
I would agree with Larry, considering the nature of the situation and maybe the biased opinion maybe of the executive director might have. I think it should be left up to the board as a non-biased person to pick.
Okay.
I would like to say that I think we should let our director do his job.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I would like to say that we have an executive director for a reason. We're not the staff of the library, so we shouldn't be, deciding issues like this.
Okay.
I would have to agree with that.
And who said that?
I agree with that.
Who's that?
If may I make a follow-up?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Annette Garden.
Okay.
I would agree with Josue. I think that our acting executive director is doing a phenomenal job, and we need to acknowledge that.
Okay.
Sylvia, do we have an open motion on the floor right now?
We do. That's why we're having discussion.
Yeah, okay. Just clarifying.
Okay. Anyone else?
If I may just follow up.
Okay.
May I follow up?
This is your second comment, Larry. Go ahead.
I know I understand. I'm impressed with the acting director. I think he's doing a stellar job so far. However, these issues are very serious. Ultimately, the buck stops with the trustees, and it's such an expansive, important issue that I still repeat that I feel that it's something the Board of Trustees should be deciding on which of these firms to hire, if any. We should be making this decision on this. The buck stops with us ultimately, and I just, that's the way I feel, and I just feel very strongly about that.
All right. Thank you, Larry.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Who am I speaking to? It's not popping up.
It's Tatiana.
Okay.
I'd like to move to postpone this discussion until our next meeting.
No. I disagree.
Let's hear from Douglas.
I mean, if I may.
Yep.
I mean,
second, do I need a second at this point? I motion to postpone.
I could second that.
Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Douglas, go ahead.
No, I mean, I believe that she's correct. She needs a second to do that.
Rochelle just did.
I would encourage you to at least consider granting authority to do this, to begin the investigation as soon as possible. We've already lost nearly 2 months of time in which, the investigation could have been conducted.
Meetings too.
I always encourage, to the extent possible, that human resources investigations take place, in a timely manner, so that witnesses' memories are still as fresh as possible. And you don't lose any of the momentum coming out of the initial complaints. So to that extent, I would encourage the board to strongly consider taking action on this tonight. However, I will, note it is your decision.
Okay, did I have a second for that postponement?
Before
I'll second.
May I ask?
Wait a minute. Stop, everybody. Stop. Okay. Douglas is finished. Tatiana has asked that we postpone this motion until future date. Do we have a second?
I'll second. Larry will second.
Don't we have a motion?
Okay. Well, the postponement supersedes everything.
Dr. Sylvia?
I'm sorry?
Don't we have to vote on the motion we have on the floor?
No, it's postponed. When somebody postpones something, it's postponed.
In the middle of a motion?
In the middle of a motion. That's what happened the last time.
Now you need a vote.
Any other discussion?
We can't vote it down.
Okay, so postpone, yes or no? Josue,
No.
Mary,
Mary.
Larry,
Yes to postpone.
Jeannie,
No. To
Annette,
No.
Rochelle,
Yes.
Shatara,
No.
Tatiana,
Yes.
Mary,
Mary has left the meeting, it looks like.
and I would say no to postponing it. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 no's, 1, 2, 3 yeses. So no, we're not going to postpone it. And we can go back to the original motion, Douglas, is that correct?
Yes, that's
Okay.
correct.
So going back to the original motion, Josue,
Yes, and I would recommend that the trustees who have certain comments about the different consultants reach out to John and make those aware to him.
thank you. Mary? Mary still gone? Okay, we'll come back to her. Larry?
No.
Jeannie?
Yes.
Annette?
I'm sorry. What?
So we went back to the original motion where we were giving John the authority to hire an HR consultant. So yes or no?
No.
Jeannie?
I gave you my yes.
Yes? Okay, let me just go back. Josue is a yes. Mary is not online. Larry is a no. Jeannie is a yes. Annette is a no. I'm sorry. Rochelle's
I abstain.
Chatara?
I'm abstaining. I don't know yet. Well, I don't know.
And Tatiana?
No.
So we have, and mine is yes. And that's 1, 2, 3 yeses, 1, 2, 3 yeses, 1, 2, 3 no's, and 2 abstentions.
Sylvia, I'm sorry. Did you get Mary's vote? I noticed she is online now.
I am, and somebody muted me.
So yes or no, Mary? I'm sorry.
I said, no, I would like to hear more information from
2,
Mr. Rondo.
3, 4. So 4 no's and 3 yeses and 2 abstains. Okay, so that means that this motion was not carried and we will not move forward on an HR consultant until the next meeting. Okay, at this time we have comments. Oh, Josue?
Yeah, I wanted Just to make a comment regarding the board in general, we keep motioning to table and postpone items on the agenda when we have the agenda beforehand. We have the board items beforehand. We should make them aware if we have issues with this so that we come to the meeting with a different outcome and we can get business done, because we meet once a month and we can't continue to postpone things until the next month. I just hope that the board members come prepared every month. In February, because this is our first meeting since February. I have some things from the past. I attended Breaking Bread, a conversation and a meal with the community, which was led by Miss Ashley and organized with our library staff. It was a great conversation with community leaders, parents, students, teachers, school staff. That left me inspired and motivated to do more for our students in our community. And I really want to thank our staff who worked with Miss Ashley to organize the event. Miss Ashley is great. She was working at the high school when I was a student there, and it's great to see the impact that she's having on our community. So thank you to the staff who organized that. Also, I want to thank our staff who are working through this pandemic, providing programming, videos, temporary library cards. That was really good. It's important that we remain available to our community during the pandemic and in any way that we can. And so this leads me to an interest that I've had recently, and I've reached out to several board members. We as a library need to become innovative in the way that we reach our community. We have so many resources, and in this time that we're closed, our community is not accessing those resources. And so during this pandemic and after this pandemic, I want to expand our options of delivery and pickup of resources. And so one idea that I have is to purchase an electric vehicle that our staff can use to deliver and pick up items to our community every day, and in similar ways that corporations do when they sell items. And so I'm going to be exploring this with staff to come up with a proposal that I can then bring back to the board. And I say electric vehicle because we should be innovative. We should be environmentally friendly. And I've learned that we get free electricity at the library, and so there's no reason why we should be paying for gas. But Amazon shouldn't get resources to our community faster than we do. And that's where I'm going to leave it. But other than that, that's all I have. And thank you.
Thank you, Josue. Mary?
We already have a service that delivers to the homebound that can be expanded on without having to buy an electric car. There's a lot of things that need to be addressed. Excuse me. I think before we find ourselves being motivated by staff to buy an electric car, I would like this to be a discussion for a very far out future date. We have already utilized our services to deliver to people in their homes. It just has to be expanded. And whether it needs to be daily, I'm not quite sure, because it's going to be a system that's going to have to adapt to the COVID. So that's just my point. I would also like to find out a little bit more about furlough and finding out what the ILL had to say, excuse me, as far as treating people that are what is considered, which I don't like the term particularly, essential and non-essential. But in order to cover all of our bases where payroll is concerned, we may not have the money that we think we do under the circumstances. So I'd like to have a little bit more discussion on how or what can be done about furloughing employees. The Lake County just enacted their furlough policy. So it might be a guideline for us to look at. That's all.
Thank you, Mary. Larry?
Well, I would just like to thank everyone for hanging in there with our library staff. It's an unprecedented historic time, and thank all those who have been fulfilling the public's trust and keeping on. And it's hard to say when when this thing will end up and wind up, and I'm hearing maybe September 1st or something is an option or possibility, who knows. But anyway, I would just like to thank everyone for their doing an excellent job, including our acting director, who is really done a great job so far with this, and I'm just very appreciative and miss our being able to walk into our public library and look at books and check out a book in the building. But we'll hope for better times to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Jeannie.
Yeah, I'd just like to say a little of what Jose said. I come to these meetings and I personally feel that we are going to hire a new person and we're going to be back in the same situation we were before, because we're not trusting the people we hired to do their job. If somebody's in, let them do their job. I know in the end it all falls on us, but the fall on us is that we hired them. That's where it fell on us last time. We hired her. We need to trust the people that we hire, or don't hire that person. And my last thing I'd like to ask is, how do you get something onto the agenda?
Just give me a call.
All right.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Jeannie. Annette.
Hello?
Yes, go ahead.
No comments.
No comments. Okay. Rochelle.
Yes. First of all, pat on the back to John for really stepping up here during this COVID time. What he's really had to jump in to a big unforeseen situation here with this. Another thing I wanted to mention was, I know with the end of school drawing near that many of my students would probably love to get their hands on some books, because not all of them have internet access to look at books online. If there's any way that they could reserve a bag full of books, and like what we did at our school, we had a drive up and they picked up their Chromebooks and they moved on. If there was any way they could drive up, pick up a bag of books that they've reserved and take them home till school begins. Just a thought here. I'm thinking of my students in the summertime.
Okay. Anything else, Rochelle?
No, that was it. Thank you.
Shatara?
Pass.
Okay. And Tatiana?
I just wanted to thank John and also thank the staff. And to second what other people have been saying is, and I've been in communication, I really want to try to make curbside pickup something doable soon as we possibly can. And I understand that's probably a lot. There's a lot of components, so I know it's not just an easy thing to make happen, but hoping we can all band together and offer to help. I volunteered to help in any way I can, but again, with schools being out of session soon and there not being any summer camps and such, I feel that people should be able to put items on hold and come pick up however we can work that out. As far as Josue's comment, I do think investigating a delivery service would be interesting. It would be something to do. I would also like to propose with the summer here that we consider promoting the homebound program more and really getting that information out to people. I was not aware that that was even a service. And to do so, I thought possibly a bike. We could test out this process with a bike this summer and model to the kids about getting out and getting in the community and having bike delivery drop-offs for materials. And I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Susan?
There is an application online.
Excuse me.
I just wanted to say there's an application you can fill out that is a part of the system. They can get homebound delivery it's an application for it.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
so.
Okay, so, Susan? I thought I saw Susan online. Or John, either one. Do we have any comments from the public?
There were no public comments submitted to Susan's email.
Okay.
Just a plug that if you would like to submit public comment, to please submit an email to Susan Royer at waukeganpl.info by 3 p.m. the day of the meeting in the future.
The day of the meeting? Okay. Okay.
And we prefer to address the people by name, so if you can put your
Okay.
first and last name at least, and preferably an address, so we know we're addressing someone of Waukegan.
Okay.
Sylvia?
Can I entertain a motion for adjournment?
Sylvia?
Yes.
I wanted to move to amend an earlier motion. I'd like to move to amend the motion to release a section of the closed session, and I'd like to that amended that we release the full session tape. Do I have a second?
I will second
Oh,
that.
I'm sorry. Excuse me, you all. You're kind of like out of line right now. So hold on for a second.
Sure.
We're at the point of adjourning the meeting. We're at public comment. If you would like to do that, you can add that to the next meeting.
Will the tape have already been released?
We've already had that discussion.
I guess let me rephrase that question. Maybe this is for Douglas. If the tape is released and then I motion to.
Tatiana, right now you're out of order. I'm saying that we were on public comments. If you would like for me to go over what we talked about already, I'll call you as soon as the meeting is over. But we're at public comment at this point, and I'm entertaining a motion for adjournment.
Okay.
Okay. Can I get a motion to adjourn this meeting?
So moved.
I second that.
Who seconded?
I will. I second that.
That Annette?
Yes.
Okay. Any discussion on adjourning the meeting? Okay, so I'll do the roll call. Josue.
I believe
Josue?
You're muted.
Mary.
Aye.
Mary.
Aye.
Larry.
Aye.
Jeannie.
Yes.
Annette.
Aye.
Rochelle.
yes.
Shatara. Shatara. You muted.
Shatara.
Tatiana.
Aye.
Shatara. Hey, Shatara. Okay.